Camera rolling. Hi folks, 28th of December. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And I just thought I'd share with you a few tips for sub-zero potting, shall we call it. Yeah, during the winter time it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it, getting out into the studio, and you know, everything is really cold. Like today, for example, here in central Pennsylvania, it's I think our high is 15 degrees. 15 degrees, that's about 9.5 degrees, or I should say minus 9.5 degrees Celsius. That's cold enough. And the studio, by the time I come out here in the morning, the studio, it's hovering, it's above freezing, but not much. So just thought I'd share with you a few tips for, you know, how to keep warm maybe out in your studio. I could suggest many things perhaps. Wear a hat. I always wear a hat anyway, summer or winter, but definitely you need to wear a hat in the winter time. Okay, let's just run through a few things that I just briefly thought of that might help you. Get yourself some of these foam type interlocking mats. You'll find that they are great to walk on. They're softer and they keep the cold off of your feet. Okay, so a hat, some decent foam mats. They're about 10 bucks for 4, something like that. I, as you know, favour a wood burning stove because it assists in drying the atmosphere in a pottery, and that helps to dry the pots. Of course, it goes without saying, get yourself a good decent pile of wood out of the snow and the wet of outside, bring it inside and have it handy. So I've always got that there ready, and keep that stove burning. That's right. What else? Another thing you want to be a bit careful of is your hands, and looking after your hands, because if you are, for example, if I run the tap here, the water that comes out is really cold on my hands, and I don't really want to put that water on my hands. Okay, so I just generally have some sort of lukewarm water here, and you get the temperature as I want it just here on the stove, okay, with a sponge. And then I have a handy towel somewhere. Oh, I've hung it back up again. So try and keep this here actually just by the stove, just to keep it so it kind of dries off when I need it. All right, so look after your hands. Another thing, oh yeah, just going back to your hands, avoid, what I'm trying to say is avoid contrasting very hot. You don't want very hot water and you don't want very cold water. Try and keep your water temperature a little bit sort of in the middle there, you know. Another thing you can do, put on some hand cream. Some kind person gave me this, Earth Maiden. Gardener's hand cure it is actually, but it's a good cream, a good cream to help you. And another thing I thought of, I don't know if it'll be helpful to you. I remember when I used to work for my dad, David Leach, in Devon, England, at the Lower Down pottery. You know, we used to go out into the pottery, and it was like a corrugated iron shed. Okay, the temperatures weren't as cold as they are here in central Pennsylvania, but it was cold, you know, it was pretty cold. It was above freezing, but not much. And in the morning, the studio was really cold. And if we had, like, say, a session of glazing to do, like I've just been doing a bit of raw glazing here, but if you had a lot of glazing to do, we got the glaze buckets out from under the table. Of course, they'd been sat on the concrete floor. and you start getting your hands into that almost freezing water of the glaze, and that really plays havoc with your hands. So here's a little tip that might be useful to you, and that is yard sales. You will often find these guys, these plate warmers, keep food warm, put them on a sideboard, plug them in, and they get up, they get hot, but not really hot. So I picked these up. I probably got about 8 of these. I don't know how many I've got loads of them. I've got more in a cupboard down there. So what you can do is, ouch, that's hot now. What I do is I think ahead a little bit, like if I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do some glazing this morning. So first thing before breakfast, I'll probably come out in the studio, I might light the fire, take one of these, okay, put the lid on it, okay, and you'll see it sat on a couple of pieces of wood. They're rulers in this case, alright? Just sit it down there. If you sit it directly on here, you will run the risk of it not really melting, but you know, almost. So just raise it up, you see, like this, 1/4 of an inch, and yeah, you'll find that will, after a couple of hours on there, or even an hour, you'll find that the whole bucket of glaze will reach a really nice temperature, you know. Just take the chill off it, and that's a good tip, because glazing in the winter when the glaze is really cold is really unpleasant. So that will make it a much nicer experience for you. And while we're talking about that, what I'll do is show you this, because not only is glaze unpleasant, but also clay is unpleasant, isn't it, if it's really cold. So you could take your clay, okay, just make sure that the plastic of the clay isn't actually on the warmer there. If necessary, you know, I only needed 2 for a bucket, but maybe for clay you might want to put 3, for example, like that. Take your clay and just put it over there like that. All right. Now that is a really good idea, because throwing with clay that is freezing cold is also very unpleasant. And another thing you can do, which I recommend, and what I do myself, is if I'm thinking, like, say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do some throwing, so, or even it doesn't matter what day it is, I'll always keep, say, 1 box or a couple of boxes of clay in my office, in the house. So I never let the clay that I'm about to throw with really get down in temperature, so it's only just above freezing, because I keep it in the house. Always I keep you know, a couple of boxes ahead, and I'll keep them indoors. So if I'm going to be throwing as I come through in the morning through my office to out into the studio, I'll grab a box of clay that is already, you know, at a reasonable temperature, not freezing, and take that out to throw with and use that. Okay, I hope that's been of some help to you, because yeah, it is challenging, isn't it, being out here in the studio. So what was it that we spoke about? Wear a hat. Yes, wear a hat, get some foam floor mats, use a wood burning stove, warm your water but not too much. Don't let your hands get freezing cold and then go from hot to cold and back again. That is really bad. Okay, some hand cream to protect your hands a little bit. Just be careful if you're going to use hand cream if you're planning on doing glazing, because the cream on your hands will stop the glaze sticking to the pots. Okay? Yeah, and the food warming tray there for warming up your glaze and warming up your clay. On that note, folks, I wish you a warm and productive winter's potting. Yeah, please go to my website, simonleachpottery.com, and you will find I've got 2018 workshop dates are up there on my website. So if you're interested in coming on a Keep Practicing workshop, go there, check out those dates, write to me, contact me, and see if that date is available. And then we'll go from there. You'll need to send me a deposit, 75 bucks, to secure your place. And yeah, apart from that, I've only got 2 more things to say. Keep practicing, and a very happy New Year 2018. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.